It's a Wampler review, so I gotta use a Telecaster. Hey everyone, I'm Jack Fossett, and welcome to this demo and review of the brand new Wampler Tumnus Germanium. This is a new take on Wampler's classic version of the Klone Centaur, and I've always loved the Tumnus. I am a connoisseur of the Tumnus Deluxe. I've been using it for years. I actually just love the name, the style. I like that in a sea of clones, they went with something that kind of fit in sort of a different but quirky way, to use Mr. Tumnus from the Chronicles of Narnia. I thought that was just like such a great idea. As a fan of that kind of literature myself, of course, that also made it doubly exciting for me. So many people know that the original Klone Centaurs used germanium. If you know, whether you've tried it or not, there's all the legend about the goop and things like that. And this one has the germanium, which adds kind of a different flair to the classic sound. Now, the Wampler Tumnus and the Tumnus Deluxe in general also really nail the Klone sound, but tend to do a little bit, particularly the Deluxe does a little bit more. One of the things that I instantly kind of noticed with this pedal is the warmth. It has that sort of like pillowy softness that fits around your notes, fills up your sound, and kind of tames, but in a good way, the top end of your amplifier. It also definitely added a little bit more snarl. The drive is kind of more, there. It's got a hint of nasaliness to it, and I say that in a good way. It's not like, bad nasal. It's good nasal. It's not like you need Vicks Vapor Rub nasal. It's, who's a cool singer who sings kind of nasally? I don't have a good example off the top of my head. It's good nasally. It's not bad nasally. Anyway, it still has that Centaur-like sweetness, and one of the things that I like about this pedal in general, and it goes for the other Wamplers as well, but it works in a number of different applications. So some overdrives you really need to run into an overdriven amp. Some overdrives you kind of want to run into a clean amp. It depends on how they interact. This one seems to work in a lot of different functionality, right? So that's why I'm doing this video in two parts. You've got the Telecaster and you've got the Les Paul. Now the Telecaster is going into the amplifier totally clean. Today I'm using a Laney VC30. If you're not familiar with the Laney VC30, it's basically like a really cool AC30, so it's like an AC30 kind of sound with like a hint of Fenderishness to it. Anyway, so the Telecaster is going into the amp clean. Now the Les Paul is going into the drive channel of the amp so that you can hear not only this pedal with two different guitars, but you can also hear how it dynamically works with the amplifier set differently. And next I'm going to do a full run through of this pedal on both of those settings. Again, Telecaster clean and Les Paul going into the dirty amp. And the drive on its own into the clean amp sounds really nice, and that is always a selling feature for me on an overdrive, because some overdrives sound kind of plasticky and fake when you go into the clean channel of an amplifier, right? It really needs to push a regular amp. or some overdrives that have a ton of power that work well into a clean amp, but then if you run it into the amp with it driven, it's just a lot too much. This one really works in both. Now, definitely with the drive turned up, if the amp was on overdrive, it was like, you know, I had to kind of work with, I could see that having some feedback issues, a little more saturation than I would like, so I wouldn't necessarily use it with the drive full up on the pedal into an overdriven amp. But if you turn the gain back on the pedal, then it really boosted it, lifted it, added a nice hint of compression, and again, that warmth kind of tightened things up on the amplifier. With the gain pulled back and using it as a boost into an overdriven amp, it just really worked and sounded great, and it filled up the tone just the way that you want it to. With that little bit of nasaliness, it's also kind of right at the frequency range that it will help you punch through the mix, but without being unpleasant to listen. So let us know what you think of this pedal. I like the style too. It's cool to see it in the silver with the red. It's bright red as opposed to like the oxblood, but it's cool considering that most Klone clones are going to be in the classic gold, and the first Tumnuses are in the gold, but obviously there were the silver clones as well, silver clones. There were the silver clones as well. So that's kind of a cool way to differentiate the two. But let us know what you think. Do you use the original Tumnus? Is this something that you could see fitting on your board? What kind of rigs would you like to use it in? What would you like to hear it in? Stick around for a full run through of this pedal. I want to thank Wampler for including me in this launch. This is a sponsored review. Now I am going to put a link below to where you can purchase this pedal. That's an affiliate link. If you shop through that link, you support the channel while you're getting cool gear at the same time at no additional cost to you. If you want to find other ways to support the channel, down in the description, you're going to find a link to a gear recommendations page on my website that's full of those sorts of affiliate links. If you do any shopping through there, it's the same kind of deal. You'll also find my PayPal and my Venmo down there. If you leave me a tip of $7 or more, you're going to get access to all of my music downloads, including jam tracks, and that accounts for anything that I'm going to do in the future. You'll have access to them, everything that I've done that's up there now, and everything that I will do in the future, so please feel free to do that. I'm Jack Fossett. Stick around for some more tone. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.